Hello, everybody. Just getting my live on here. Oh, we got some audio. We are good to go. Okay. More fun days lately. The portal, 12/12 portal just happened yesterday and feeling a lot of stuff show up. Sorry, my lighting's a little bit off, so I'm seeing a little bit of flicker there, but I don't have the energy to go and play with it right now. Okay, so agreements for everyday life. A lot of people might not know what agreements are, but agreements are basically what I call the foundation of your friendship, relationship, connection with another person. Really basic ideas of an agreement would be honesty. I expect honesty with other people, but how many people do you actually state that out loud? Do you make an agreement that says, okay, and you want to come in my world, you need to be honest with me and you need to be honest with yourself. And it creates a new level of awareness, understanding between two people. And there's so much about relationships, friendships, etc., that is unsaid. And it's almost on purpose that it's unsaid so that people can be wishy-washy and change their mind and other things. And I'm finding it's really important for me in my relationships with women to deal with some of my past wounds and other things that came from my previous life. I basically have an expectation. We'll start with expectation because we need to formalize these things, but you have an expectation that people are going to be truthful. And if they say something, they mean it and they want to do it and they're going to follow through with it. Me as a man, that's a really, hello, Diane. Hi, good to see you. As a man, it makes me feel safe. And women feel safe if I am accountable and I follow through with things that I say. And that's an expectation, again, of relationship, of having a deeper connection with someone is these things. But so much they're unstated. It's an expectation at first until it becomes an agreement. An agreement is, yes, I want to feel safe with you all the time. So an agreement is that we're accountable to the things that we say. But how often do we say these things out loud? So for me right now, I'm trying to build agreements for everyday life that I share with other people that make it really clear how I act and how I do things and how I like to be held accountable in integrity, etc. So little things like agreements, like sometimes I work with people and things come through me and I'm a hollow bone and a channel and I give advice to people because they're asking for it, etc. But because of past situations that I've had, I need to make an agreement that everything that I say is only advice. It's something that I give lovingly, but I've had so many people in my past that took it and then weren't happy with the results or the fact that it made their life hard or whatever. And so now in my life, I make an agreement. It's like, you be accountable to stuff. If I give you advice or I share my experience or knowledge and you follow that path and it doesn't work out for you, you chose, not me. So a basic agreement. It's like, if you want to listen to my lives and you want to share and all this kind of stuff, and it feels right in your heart, that's your choice. I don't force anybody. I don't do anything like that. So what other agreements are there? Agreements of truth. So yeah, I will always give you the truth that I know. I may find out later that that was wrong or a lie or whatever, and I'll be accountable. And I'll stand up and say, this proved to be false. And I'll share that and give my reasons why, so it's clear. Agreements of integrity. So when I say something, I try my best to follow through. But I'm human, sometimes forgetful. All of us are. And I want to be held in integrity by people. So another agreement is like, if you feel I'm out of integrity or I didn't follow through with what I said, call me on it. Speak it to me. Don't like shoot me to hell or whatever, but just say, hey, didn't you say you were going to give this next week? And it's like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot. Okay, I want to follow through with that, because I never want to be out of integrity with people. But that agreement also says, I'm going to hold you in integrity in your statements too, because it doesn't work one way or the other. The agreement is, this is what I want, to feel safe, to feel respected, all these kind of things. So I'm going to give the same to you, backwards. And so these agreements and starting to formalize these things that help us feel safe, to feel integrity in our world, the more we speak them instead of making them assumed or an expectation or whatever, creates this really grounding, powerful effect in our world. And this is what I'm trying to create in my world. And by making statements like this, okay, I have agreements on honesty and truth and follow through and on holding people accountable to what they say. And another agreement that seems to be rampant in this world, that people change their mind, but they have to be accountable to the fact that that changing of mind, if you made an agreement with somebody and you change their mind and you just like, I don't care what you think or whatever, I reserve the right to change my mind. Maybe that person might need to understand the rationale for why you changed your mind. Especially in my experience with women, it seems to be okay that you can change your mind and this is a boundary and all this kind of stuff. But when yeses become nos, or I find out afterwards that the no was actually a no, even though they said yes, makes me question the integrity of the person. It's like, okay, what's going on? You got some trauma going on, something scary, this bubbled up or whatever. I can deal with that all day long. And I'm happy when people change their mind and choose their self. But when they change their mind and they don't want us to be a part of it because they're ashamed of it, or they run away and change their mind, how can I trust that person afterwards? It's following through with what you say in everything. And I work with people and go into really shadow experiences, dealing with shadow, dealing with trauma, dealing with all these kind of things. And the agreement I want to have with the people coming into my life is, you're prepared to deal with what shows up when we go to those dark spaces. Trauma is going to come up, scared's going to come up. People are going to want to lash out and be angry and project energy and all this kind of stuff. And I'll hold space for that all day long until they start to lie to themselves. They start to twist their truth so that they don't have to be accountable anymore. And my biggest agreement is, I'm going to hold everybody accountable to what they do. And I want to be held accountable all day long because it's in my shadow. It's things I don't understand. By building these agreements and saying them out loud and allowing people to really have an awareness of what's going on inside of me that makes me safe and comfortable and a good foundation and masculine, is by me being really direct about what's important to me and how I'm going to hold other people to be important in that. And I've been dealing with it a lot lately with family and parents and other things. And people use these little things like, oh, our memory's not good anymore. Or we changed our mind. We did all these things. And how do you trust somebody that just constantly uses those excuses to get out of being accountable for what they wanted? And I don't know what's underneath it, fear, whatever, not my problem. I need to hold those people accountable, or how do I welcome them into my life? How do I allow my children to be exposed to that lack of accountability and then them get disappointed? And then it's my fault. So there's so much going on underneath in not following through with what we said, in the fact that we say something and then deem it okay to not follow through with what we said is a foundation that falls apart underneath you. You can't trust, you can't rely on those words anymore. So after a while, your trust is gone. So accountability, building an agreement builds, it's kind of like the foundation stones of how you interact with a person. And I love to build romantic, sexual, partner-based agreements and relationships upon agreements. It's like, this is what I want in our relationship. We have to tell the truth, even when we're scared. And here's the way to do it. Here's when I see it not happening. Am I allowed to call you on it, even though it might be hard or scary? And this magical place forms where trust is built on these foundation stones. This is the way that person's going to interact with me. They're going to hold me and ground me and not feel disrespected because we're not following through with what we agreed. But most of the time, we're into these relationships with all these expectations based on past relationships, our upbringing, religion, etc., and they're not even stated. And then we're resenting the other person because we had no common stable ground to build on. So these agreements are a little bit hard conversations that actually get easier each time you do, because it's like getting the shadow out of any connection we're having with another person. It's like, I really like to be direct. And how would you like me to be direct towards you when I feel something's off? Oh, well, don't be passive aggressive. Don't call me out on things, or don't get angry and let resentment build up. It's like, put your finger up and say, hey, I got to talk right now, or there's something showing up and this doesn't feel good to me. The agreement is, yeah, always be truthful, bring it up in the moment, but bring it up in a non-attacking, non-aggressive way, and we can work through anything. But if we leave it in the shadow, we leave it in that statement of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, I'm going to build resentment afterwards because I can't feel safe. And I have no avenue to feel safe, to ask for safety, to build upon. So some really simple things are going on in my life now. Just basic agreements. If you want to be sexual with me, well, let's got to be open about that. We gotta have the agreements of how that works, how we ask for it, how when we don't want it, or we're a yes or a no or whatever, is it okay to say yes and no? What's the thing? Even if you don't want it, why would I ever want somebody to say yes because I wanted it and they are a clear no? Those are things that are misunderstood in relationships and even business relationships, etc., that just like make it the foundation fall apart afterwards. So getting into agreements, getting really crystal clear, and making that foundation of everything. I'd like to have it like put on my shirt kind of thing, and it wouldn't be that complicated. It's like, I'm going to hold you accountable. I deal with everyone in integrity. I believe in directness and dealing with our triggers and being communicative. That's almost all of them. Oh, and then own your shit. So if shit's coming up as a result of us interacting, don't project it on me or say, oh, well, you shouldn't have told me that, or no, you've been giving me too much advice. No, let's talk about it. I'll sit here all day and deal with the dregs, the shadows, the whatever is coming up. But by having those really basic disclaimer, like I said, put it on the front of your shirt or tattoo it on your forehead. But we should have some really, really basic agreements that we have to everybody in our life. Maybe this is more important to a man because we're building the integrity and we're being held as the rock and the grounding and all this kind of stuff. But I will tell you right now, for me to be able to trust women based on past experiences, and I need those agreements. I need those agreements to be able to go vulnerable, to be communicative, to go deep with a woman, or else I never really know what ground I'm standing on. Are they in emotion and angry? Are they in whatever? And they're not talking about it. That happens with men too. But it's this new way of communicating, this new way of, okay, here's my base agreements. Really simple. And once everybody knows, they know how to contact you, how to deal with things, how to be direct and communicative. And then real magic starts to happen. I've been doing this with key people in my life right now, and it just opens to more and more and more and more vulnerability and more safety, confidence, me standing in my power because I have a lot to say. But in my whole life, I've been told that's too much. You're too powerful. You're too direct. You're talking about sex. You're talking about all this kind of thing. And now I have to stand up and say, if you don't like the stuff I talk about, go the fuck away, because I'm that light. I'm that confidence, but I'm tired of being told that I'm too much or that whatever. So my base agreements are, if you don't like what I'm talking about, don't complain to me. You go somewhere else and turn off my channel. Easy. There are lots of people that want to know what I talk about. There's a lot of information that I need to be bringing out to people that I haven't felt safe bringing out to. So by building these agreements with everybody and stating them here, I talk about shit that I believe is absolute truth. I have no shame or guilt or blame around sexuality, sexual acts, relationship, having intercourse, whatever, all this kind of stuff. But I hear my aunts and uncles and family and stuff are like, oh, he's too much or whatever. Well, fuck that. If you're not comfortable with it and you want to stay in that old world, then go over there and talk about it. Don't put it out, because none of us, if we're not talking about massive changes in the world and bringing out the truth of what's in the shadow and all this kind of stuff, this scares the shit out of people because it makes them think, it makes them grow, it makes them look at their shadow. So my agreements are always to bring the truth, no matter how much it is. And I'll take feedback if I'm too direct or I'm too sexual or whatever, but I don't think there's actually any of that, because I'm respectful. I don't talk dirty about stuff, but I hold myself back all this time because of what people are saying in the background or what past family members. The agreement now is I can't hold myself back. I got to be in my power. I got to stand in my purpose. And this purpose is really important for the world. So if you're not comfortable with that, turn me off, go over there. But if you're comfortable with it, I will give you the absolute God-ass truth of everything that I have. And I'll be direct about it. And if you want to bring it up and you want to have a healthy conversation about it, I'll walk anybody through anything. That's an agreement. I'll hold you accountable, though. If you don't like what I'm saying or it makes you uncomfortable and it makes you look at your trauma, I'm going to hold you and ground you if you want. But if you're saying no, I got to step away, because that's not safe for me. That's not safe for you. That's an agreement. I will hold in integrity anybody that's triggered by my stuff. But if you can't handle that, I might hold your feet to the fire around things or whatever, then I can't help you. You can't blame me. You can't make me the reason for all your problems. That's what an agreement gets. You own your shit around me. And I only invite people into my life that are willing to own their shit and be accountable on things. And I will bring you into my heart and soul, and we will be wide open, and it'll be loving, beautiful exchange. But the minute you want to turn that around and you want to not take self-responsibility, you don't want to take accountability for yourself, and you don't want to be vulnerable, I have to step back. That's an agreement from now on. There's only a small percentage of the population that's ready for this level of truth and shining. And it's okay that other people don't want it. But just don't come to me and complain to me and say I'm too much or this scares you, because it's meant to scare you. I love you all so much. I want you to have this knowledge, this beautiful stuff that I found inside my heart that's opened me and changed me and allowed me to have relationships in beautiful ways that I've never had before. I want to share that with everyone. But it's going to mean grittiness. It's going to mean emotion, scared, crying, all this kind of stuff. But my agreement to you, I will sit you through, as long as you're self-responsible and accountable about it, I'll sit through anything. I'll listen to anybody's stuff. But don't come back afterwards and say, oh, yeah, you scared me and I wasn't comfortable and I wasn't okay. My agreement with the world and the universe is only people that will be ready to do this work will show up. And anybody else will step away for right now. But when you're ready to do the work, we will get through awakening and all the shit and the shadow and the trauma and shame, lickety spit, because I have really strong basic agreements with everyone that apply to everyone. And yes, I'm going to get triggered sometimes. Yes, I'm going to whatever. My agreements are also call me on that shit. Bring it up. Do it in a beautiful way. And I grow. You grow. We all learn. It's a group experience. It's not me having agreements and everybody else having to line up to it. My agreements are what's going to keep you safe. It's going to build the walls of the fortress as we're dealing with all the dragons and the demons. Those are the agreements that you're going to be able to stand on and say, oh, fuck, I trust this guy. So I don't want to hold back anymore. I want the agreements to be out in the forefront so that everybody is safe around me. And I want to hear your agreements. Put them in the bottom. Tell me what they are. What are the agreements? What are the things that are really basic for you to help you feel comfortable and safe? If we could state that, and in the workshops I do, that's places where we start. What's my agreements with my partner? What's my agreement? What am I scared of? What's not feeling comfortable? What's whatever? Those are the agreements. These are the off bounds things that really trigger the shit out of me. And once we build up that basics of basic agreements, we're going to start pulling stuff out of that off bounds thing, because this is a person that I can deal with. We can walk through, we can get it through anything. So agreements are really powerful statements of who you are, what you believe, and you make them to other people in advance. And then it makes everything cleaned up. It removes all those past stories and all that kind of stuff. I've been making clear agreements with everyone that I really want in my life. And it makes it safe to say anything, to do anything, to go to any depth, and just make an agreement. Okay, I'm going to give you advice, but if it doesn't work out for you, I have to have an agreement that you're going to be responsible for the things you choose and don't choose. I don't have it all perfected. This may not work for you, but I'm going to give you advice. I'm going to channel stuff that feels right. And 9 times out of 10, it's probably okay. But I've had so many people that I really, really loved and respected that come back and say, hey, oh yeah, you misled my life and whatever. No, you were so squishy and wishy-washy. You didn't know what you wanted to do. So you wanted a scapegoat. And I won't be that for people anymore. But I'll give you powerful information. I'll shine light on you. I'll reflect for you. That's my agreement. My agreement is I'll always do the truth. I want as much for you as I want for me. And that's a big one, because you are all a piece of me. You are part of God, part of whatever. I'm not here to make my most fantastic life. I'm here to go through all this shit, find the hard way, the easy way, the whatever, and then share that so that you got an easier path to be a way shower, to be a light, to be a guide, to be whatever. That can be the hardest thing sometimes. You don't get rich doing that kind of stuff, but you're living a life of integrity and accountability, and people want to be around you because you have strong agreements. You have expectations that are stated of how people are going to act around you and how they're going to be held in those circumstances. And it makes it really simple. Mess me around, 3 strikes, you're out. And I have to, because there's a lot of people that aren't ready to go forward. There's another basic agreement. I will always be communicative and share back, but if I can't find us both in alignment, why would I continue the relationship? Oh, we're friends or whatever. No, friends that keep messing you around aren't really friends. They're using you. They're out of their own integrity. And how can I make an integrity bubble around me without people that aren't in integrity as well? So to state that, I need your integrity coming in. That goes for women and men. I need your accountability. Really basic. A container that's off the charts. So, and without them, we just get eaten alive by people's lack of those things and the acceptability of those things. So my agreements to everyone, I keep stating them. Truth, honesty, integrity, holding people accountable and in their integrity. They're really, really simple things. And be communicative. Say your truth. If you change your mind, come back and explain it and say why. If you're afraid, it doesn't feel comfortable, whatever. Why did you say yes when you should have said no? I will hold space for that all day long. So this is what agreements are to me. And it's really been eating me today. I pull myself back. I hold myself back because of experiences where other people weren't, I didn't have agreements. Other people were triggered and they had no agreements for themselves. And I lost every time. I spent my life trying to please people and trying to prove that my thing was right or whatever. Fuck, I don't need people to know that it's right. They either feel and resonate with me and they follow me, or they fall away. And that's about as simple as agreement as you can get. And I'm not here to convince and please anyone. I'm here to give God's honest truth. And when you're ready and it feels right, and I'm fully in integrity with myself, and that's part of why I'm stating these agreements today, I'm going to feel even safer. So hopefully this makes sense. If you got questions, put them in the bottom. And that's an agreement. What are your agreements? Put them in the bottom. What are the things that you want? What do you want base in the world that makes you feel safe so that you can be trusting and go hard and do difficult things? What are those agreements? What builds you that stable foundation that you're comfortable and safe? Well, here are some of mine. Public, declared to the universe, declared to the world, so be it, so it is, Kerthunk. Onward and upward. Love you all. Have a good one. Sorry for my little glitchy on this side. There's not enough light in here at night. So love you. Talk to you soon.